let's talk a little bit about the album coming out. Do you find that it's, this rich sound that people can relate to from before, like previous Big Rec, or are you guys exploring with any new sounds?
Yeah, we definitely explored with some new sounds. I think that's something that gets overlooked and underused. Just sort of the art of engineering, if you will. Like there's an art to it, but it's become so. It's almost prefab. It's almost like, well, the guitar amps are set up already, ready to go, and here's the ones for the big sound. Here's the ones for the little sound. The drums are already set up, mic'd, ready to go. Just go play your part. Okay, got it. And then you put it on the grid. Add the samples to it. Do you want the big samples or the little samples? You know what I'm saying? It's all just, and then you have your rock record. And I did not want to make a record like that. I wanted to make a record where you could feel things moving and hear interaction and the little ghosts that can creep in between the notes, all that shit. So it wasn't really a challenge, it was a joy. The challenge was picking songs and then focusing on what we wanted to do. For example, there's one song on there, Control, where there's two different takes on it. And we did this several times with a few songs, where we do two totally different drum setups, drum sounds, like roomy, vibey, crash and bash, versus this really tight, sort of muted, put pillows and everything, and close mic'd everything, so it's really tight and sort of a thud, thwack. And then start layering the music on top of, because they'd obviously be in the same tempo, so we'd layer the music on top and then start A-Bing, which you can do nowadays. And that, to me, was like, well, you'd never be able to do that with tape. That was well, of course you would, but it would be very expensive and time-consuming. So yeah, we were able to A-B and decide, okay, well, which vibe are we going to go with? And we went with the tight mic'd one, the sort of the late 70s, it sounds like you're hitting a pillow kind of,
Yeah.
We were calling it the camel fart drum sound because it was so dry. And that's new for me. And then discovering how much more you can do sonically with using a really small drum sound. There's so much room for everything else. And vice versa with guitars, smaller amps, as opposed to always just going with the big. But at the point being, there was just every single sound and every single song had to have a different approach. And the bigger your trick bag is, the more ways you can go about trying to, put the backdrop in before the actual song is, and I think that's something that's really important. You put on older records and they instantly have a vibe. Before you hear, the lyric and the chorus, it has a vibe and it pulls you in, or it's just something on in the background while you're chopping an onion or whatever. It's almost like a smell, you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of that has to do with the tone of it. People will say, well, that's because it was tape. I disagree, because there's a lot of guys making records now that have a good vibe to them. And I think the important thing is just, not shying away from going the extra mile trying to get that sound perfect before you move to the next step.
And I feel like with the technology that we have and all these gadgets, you have that creative freedom, which takes that extra step. So you guys did that, or?
It's just a matter of how you utilize it. Because you can go the route of putting the drums on the grid and having them sound perfect, and then auto-tuning the vocals, and I just don't think it sounds like humans anymore. It doesn't sound like people. The guitars don't sound like there's hands involved. Everything sounds like it's being played by robots and sung by robots. So, and that's fine for some. It's not really my bag.
Getting a little more technical now. Let's talk a little bit about your gear.
Okay.
Do you guys have any endorsements, sponsors, and specifically, what do you have as like your in-house gear, and how does it work to your sound?
Sennheiser's been great. So all the mics on stage are Sennheiser. Music Man has been great. These are fabulous guitars that that I like playing. Paulo likes playing them as well. And Brian has started playing Duesenbergs, which are wonderfully made German guitars. But yeah, they're flawlessly engineered, as you would imagine. Ernie Ball strings. I think we're all Ernie Ball strings. Brad's playing pearl drums, and very happy about it. They sound great. I don't even have to ask him. I think Evans heads and Vic Firth. I don't know what all those are. Fortin amps. We're playing Fortin. Both Paulo and I are playing Fortins. Mike Fortin's an amp builder in Toronto. He's like a mad scientist guy who mods amps and builds amps from scratch. And like, it takes a while to get one from him, but I love using that thing.
All right, sounds good.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Big Rec, make sure you check them out.